The female assassin had already retired, but to scrape together some money for her son's wedding, she took on a job temporarily. Little did she know that her target was her son's fiancé. The woman had no choice but to abandon the mission, but her actions were seen as betrayal by the organization, which immediately ordered her to be hunted down. The male assassin standing before her was an old friend of the woman. He told her that he had come as a friend. Gradually, the woman let her guard down. As they were talking, the woman's son suddenly walked over. The woman didn't want her son to have too much contact with the man. Apart from being greedy and lecherous, her old friend had no redeeming qualities. And just like that, there was another assassin on the ship. Everyone explained that terrorists had come to the island, so they had to take refuge on the ship. For the sake of her boyfriend, the girl warmly entertained them. At this point, the girl had no idea that her mother-in-law had once taken aim at her with a sniper rifle. During their conversation, the male assassin suddenly received a text message, and his expression immediately became serious. The woman, perceptive as she was, sensed this and had an ominous premonition. Sure enough, just a few minutes later, the ship's fire alarm suddenly went off. While everyone thought it was a malfunction, the woman knew that it was the male assassin's way of getting her alone. As they dodged and weaved, the woman's handgun was accidentally hit. Now, the only thing she could rely on was the cheese fork in her pocket. Fortunately, as a seasoned assassin, the woman was not short of experience. She successfully knocked the male assassin's handgun to the ground. After a brief inquiry, she learned that the bounty on her head had tripled. Among assassins, there was indeed no such thing as loyalty. If there was, it was only because the price hadn't been right. Meanwhile, as the two of them hadn't returned for a long time, everyone else began to speculate about what they were doing. On the other side, the two had fought until they were exhausted. The woman had intended to rush forward and snap the man's neck, but she was caught off guard and restrained by him. As the woman struggled desperately, the chef suddenly pushed the door open, but he had no intention of getting involved. The woman struggled with all her might because in just 10 more seconds, she would die from suffocation. In her despair, she suddenly felt the cheese fork. In the end, the woman successfully killed the man, but the commotion in the kitchen had already drawn everyone's attention. With no way to hide it anymore, the woman had to confess that she was an assassin. However, it should be emphasized that
Ex-hitwoman, I am.
actually, the girl should thank her mother-in-law. If it hadn't been for the woman taking on the mission, and another assassin had been hired instead, the girl might have already been killed. But the girl was also puzzled. She hadn't made any enemies, and she worked in the charity sector. So, who could possibly want to kill her? Who do you think wanted to kill the girl?